Hi guys, and welcome to the very first video of my new Gallatin Gateway project. Before we jump into creating the 2D spatial plan, I want to quickly explain the overall process of a full-service interior design project. We're not going into detail today because I have created a complete interior design cheat sheet that covers the entire process step by step. You can find it on my website by creating the QR code on the screen. For me, a full-service interior design project is divided into 11 stages. So in this upcoming video series, we will basically start in stage 4, which is concept development. We will focus mostly on the design aspect of my Gallatin Gateway project using SketchUp, Canva, and layout. Let's assume you have already completed the initial stages. The client has reached out, we have had our consultation, the proposal has been accepted, contracts have been signed, the retainer has been paid, and the client has officially been onboarded. Now we can start gathering inspiration. So the first thing I like to do is actually collect all the information my client gave me, maybe some inspirational images they have shared. And before I start selecting furniture materials, I always try to understand the project location and its surroundings. So the project is located in Gallatin Gateway, Montana, just outside Bozeman. It's an incredible location surrounded by mountains, forests, rivers, beautiful ski resorts, and since the home has amazing mountain views, it is very much connected to the outdoors, and I want the interior to reflect that same feeling. So I begin by collecting inspirational from the landscape itself, and once I have a clear vision, I put together a general mood board. This board is not meant to define every single finish or furniture piece. Instead, it just communicates the overall design intent. Some designers like to do this per room. I like to do it just one general mood board because I'm also planning on doing concept boards later. So therefore, one mood board is sufficient to showcase the design direction. Then I also like to include an initial color palette and a selection of materials that help establish the atmosphere of the project. At this stage, nothing is fixed yet. Some of these materials are simply placeholders, while others are already products that I know I want to use later in the project. So the goal is to simply ensure that both my client and I are aligned before moving into the more technical stages of the design. Since I'm designing this project from the other side of the world, all communication presentations are done digitally. My client has chosen to work with a local builder in Montana because I obviously am here in Germany, but the local builder will then be responsible for ordering the materials and completing the construction. My role is therefore to provide a complete set of professional design documentation that allows the project to be built accurately. So once the overall design direction has been basically defined by me, I move on into creating the initial 2D spatial plan. And this is the stage where I begin to think about how the rooms will function. I'm looking at furniture placement, circulation, proportions, and how each space connects to the next before investing time in detailed modeling. At this point, I'm still working entirely just a SketchUp and Canva. I'm not using layout yet. I'm definitely not creating any 3D renderings at this point. The goal is, again, to establish a functional floor plan that my client and I can review before moving forward. As mentioned, we have now finished our mood board, color palette, and material inspiration board. So now let's talk about how I created this 2D spatial plan using SketchUp. The client provided me with a general floor plan of the space in a JPEG format. If you have a PDF instead, I recommend taking a screenshot and importing it as a JPEG or PNG, as SketchUp doesn't handle PDFs very well. You only need one known dimension to accurately scale your floor plan in SketchUp. Once it has been scaled correctly, I start by creating the walls, windows, and doors until all surfaces are separated properly. I like to keep my flooring, walls, and windows grouped together in one main group, while grouping each door individually outside of that main group. This way the doors won't cut into the floor surface, making it much easier to work with the model later on. Then it's time to place some 2D symbols and start creating our spatial plan. I'm using my own custom 2D symbols, but you can also download them from the SketchUp warehouse or create your own. Just make sure they are scaled correctly before placing them. Actually, here's a little tip. If you're looking for high-quality 2D fixture symbols, visit the Kohler US website. They provide free 2D and even 3D models for sinks, shower heads, faucets, and many other plumbing fixtures, which I find incredibly helpful. Kitchen spatial plan can be a little bit more complex, so I like to use simple boxes to represent my cabinet carcasses. This way I already know how many of those fit in my space. And make sure that there's always good circulation space, and then continue just laying out the remaining rooms until I have a complete spatial plan for the entire house. At the same time, while working on the spatial plan, I also started creating dedicated Pinterest boards for each room. This is mainly for myself, so I can collect inspirational images that align with the layouts I have created. For example, I already knew I wanted to design a custom cabinetry wall with a window seat in the guest bedroom. So I started collecting inspirational images that basically reflect that exact idea. Whether I show these boards to the client or not, they're mostly a design tool that helps me develop each space before moving into the detailed design phase. After I have finished my 2D spatial plan, I simply export it as a 2D graphic directly out of SketchUp. Under the export options, I usually choose something around 7000 pixels with a high quality JPEG output. You might need to experiment a little to find the right resolution so the lines stay crisp and don't become pixelated. From here, I place the exported image just into Canva. However, if you plan to print your presentation, I highly recommend zooming your US letter or A4 page or whatever size you have on your monitor until it matches its actual printed size. I usually just hold a ruler against my screen to check the scale of the overall page, and this allows me to evaluate whether the floor plan or the spatial plan in that case will still be readable once it's printed. If your presentation is only intended for digital viewing, this obviously isn't as important. Alternatively, you can always present your spatial plan room by room if you want them to appear larger on the page. And now that we have finished our spatial plan, I like to also create concept boards in Canva. So the spatial plan together with the Pinterest boards I have created now help me develop a design concept for each individual room. So I like to include some of the actual projects that I'm planning to specify so my client gets a better understanding of the overall design direction. Now, don't get me wrong, this is not the final FF&E schedule. That comes way later in the process. This is not a complete list of every material, of every finish or fixture, or furniture piece that will be used in a project because they simply won't fit on one page. Instead, I simply select the most important elements and combine them with one or two inspirational images and maybe some materials, just so the overall concept can be understood at one glance. For example, I might show the proposed wallpaper, a lighting fixture, hardware, or perhaps a vanity concept that I created with the help of AI. I think it gives the client a very clear understanding of the design direction while we are still in step 4 of the design process. Just to give you a general idea of the timeline, the concept development phase can take anywhere between 2 and 4 and sometimes even longer. It really depends on the size of your project and the number of spaces that need to be designed. But there's a lot of work involved already in basically creating the spatial plan, the mood board, the material selections, and all of this. So you want to make sure that you have sufficient time for this. So in the next videos, we will start discussing each room individually, beginning the actual 3D design process, and then also I'm going to share how I create the design documentation at the same time. So this is a really exciting and extensive project, so make sure to subscribe and stay connected so you don't miss any upcoming videos. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.